Okay, let's say we completely destroy all the asteroids. Is the game over then? Not in this game. We want to continue on basically forever and ever. And one way we could do that is to make an additional level every single time, an additional scene here. But then we'd have to get, have main 1, 2, 3, 4, and on and on and on. So instead, we're going to do something using a loop, what's called a loop, so that when you destroy all the asteroids, then it goes back to the main scene here again, but all the asteroids reappear plus 1 or 2 extra asteroids, so that each time you destroy all the asteroids, you go to another level, and it's a little more difficult than the one in the past. All right? So let's talk about or figure out or show you how to do all that. Now, this is a little bit more confusing, and I'll break this down into smaller parts, but just know you're using a loop that'll repeat itself so that the asteroids come back after they've all been destroyed. So I'm going to click on Actor here. I'm going to create a new actor, and I'm going to call this actor Game Controller because it controls the game. Get rid of all that new stuff, so Game Controller. Cool. Now I need to create an attribute. Now normally we create these game level attributes, but this time we're going to create an actor level attribute. So it's specific just to this actor. It only works in this particular scene in the game controller. It doesn't work anywhere else. So I'll hit plus, and like normal, it's going to be an integer. That's pretty common what we do. So we'll set that one. Let's see. Let's call it asteroids spawned. Asteroids spawned. Perfect. All right, now we have asteroid spawned. Great. And now we're going to go back to the game controller here. And this time we're going to add a loop. So I'm going to type in loop down here. Whoop, I spelled loop. There it is. A loop. Perfect. And we'll call this loop loop spawn asteroids. So loop spawn asteroids. Asteroids. All right. Then we have to select an attribute. And guess what? We're going to select the attribute we just created. It's not a game level, it's a self attribute. So self dot, didn't we call it like asteroid spawn? There we go. Perfect. All right, let's set this here to less than 3. Got it? Now, after that, we're going to need to spawn some asteroids. So let's say spawn and spawn an actor. And the actor we want to spawn is an asteroid large. And we want to be careful where we place that asteroid. We don't always to show up in the same place. That certainly won't be any fun. So we're going to make it random. But I don't want to just throw numbers at you. I want these to make sense. So here's the X, right? Going this way. And here's the Y, the up and down, right? And if we go to our scene, we can see here that the width, which is the X on our scene, is 1024. And the up and down, the height is 768. So we'll want to do something a little bit close to within those ranges, all right? In fact, I'm probably going to have it so the asteroids will show up kind of in a box here in this area. That way it'll be a little bit away from the ship because we don't want to necessarily have them appear right on the ship and then the game will end. So go ahead and follow along with what I'm doing here. If you decide to make it a little bit different for yourself, that's fine. But probably just for now, I'll go ahead and stick with what I have. So anyways, we're going to make the where it appears random. So I'm going to click here and type in random. And the minimum I'm going to make it is 612 and then 964. And again, that's going to have that sort of that box a little bit off to the right there where they'll show up. So on the main scene, they're going to show up kind of in this area in here. So again, the furthest widest I could be was 1024. So let's go back to the actor there. Back to game controller. And then we need to figure out what we want to use for the Y there. So that'll be a little bit different, obviously. So for the Y, I'll say, because I'm okay with it going almost anywhere up and down. I just want to keep it in this sort of side of the screen, but anywhere up and down is pretty much okay. And so I'll change that to random. And that's going to be 100 by 688. So 100 by 688. There we go. Hit update. Great. Now when it appears, we got more coding to do before we can test this. It'll appear in those random areas. Okay, go ahead and do this, and then we'll move on to the next thing in a moment.